Yes. Sorry? Sorry? Capital. Yes, yes. Captain Capital. Oh, so we will.
Good afternoon, everyone. The sixth round of public hearings is being held as part of the national inquiry being conducted by the Commission on the impact of climate change on the human rights of the Filipino people. This proceeding stems from a petition filed before the Commission, docketed as CHR case number CHR-NI-2016-0001. The solemnity of the public hearing shall be upheld at all times. Respect should be accorded to everyone present. The clapping of hands and unnecessary remarks shall not be allowed and may be regarded as direct contempt of the inquiry panel. Cell phones should be turned off or put on silent mode while proceedings are going on. All rise. The inquiry panel for today's proceedings are Inquiry Panel Chairman of the NICC, Honorable Commissioner Roberto Eugenio T. Cadiz, and Honorable Commissioner Karen S. Gomez Dumpit. Dr. Pedro Walpole, S.J. assists the Commission on Human Rights of the Philippines in this inquiry. Please remain standing for the national anthem and the ecumenical prayer.
Dakilang may likha sa kalingap pang unawa, mangyari ang iyong diwa sa langit at sa lupa. Bigyan mo ng sapat ang lahat sa araw-araw. Turo ang magparaya gaya ng iyong gawa. Bigyan mo kami sa pagmamataas upang mahiwagsik ang bukid at lahat. Sa lumikha ng pamayanan payapa sa kalikasan kahitayan ang kaniyahan paniniwala. Siya nawa, siya nawa, siya nawa.
Everyone may now be seated.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. Griselda Mayanda, respectfully appearing for the petitioners.
A pleasant afternoon, Your Honors. Asmina D. Paudak, respectfully appearing for the petitioners. Your Honors, before we proceed with the presentation, may we have some manifestations, Your Honors? Your Honors, we would like to manifest that on December 7th, we submitted an ex parte manifestation and submission where requested submissions from petitioners and their resource persons and recent peer-reviewed article on oil industry's knowledge in carbon dioxide and global warming dated November 26, 2018, wherein we requested the following documents to be marked and or remarked and which were marked or remarked accordingly as follows. The statement of Attorney Kristen Casper, consisting of 2 pages, as exhibit YYYYYYY or octuple Y to octuple Y-2. Supplementary memorandum to the Commission by resource person Catherine Lopes, Research Associate Law, Governance and Society Lab at McGill University, consisting of 180 pages as exhibit octuple Z to octuple Z-171. Cited study in Dr. Allen's PowerPoint presentation entitled Climate Change Effects on the Worst Case Storm Surge, a case study of Typhoon Haiyan, by Izuru Takayado et al., 2015, Environ West Letter 10064011, consisting of 11 pages, is Exhibit Non-Opal A to Non-Opal A-10, and a peer-reviewed article by Mr. Benjamin Fanta entitled Early Oil Industry Knowledge of Carbon Dioxide and Global Warming, which was published in Nature Climate Change, consisting of 2 pages, as Exhibit Non-Opal B to Non-Opal B-1. Also, we submitted Dr. Miles Allen's updated PowerPoint presentation entitled Attributing Harm to Greenhouse Gas Emissions, Principles and Current Status, consisting of 14 pages, remarked as Exhibit Octuple R to Octuple R-13. Further, Your Honors, in compliance with the Honorable Commission's directive, we would like to manifest that we submitted on December 4 the transcription and Filipino to English translation of testimonies of select petition witnesses for August 29 to 30 public hearings, namely Arthur Golong, Elisar Lauser, Delia Talagan, Buukan Handaan, Dalia Naliu, and William Mamanglo through an ex parte manifestation and submission dated December 3, 2018. And finally, Your Honors, for these 2-day public hearings, we will be presenting 3 community witnesses from Iligan City, Camotes Island, Cebu, and Zamboanga del Sur. We will be allowed to ask questions in the vernacular, the language the witnesses are more, and for the questions and answers to be recorded verbatim in such language. We commit to submit the transcript and translation from Filipino to English for these community witnesses after the public hearings. That will be all, Your Honor.
All right, may we request Attorney Esguerra to confirm the manifestation of counsels for petitioners regarding the marking of exhibits? Excuse me, counsel, can you speak to the mic because the proceedings are being recorded?
I confirm the manifestation of the counsels for the petition, John, except for one clarification as to the document referring to Mr. Miles Adams. Is that was that submitted during the last time? It's not on the table of exhibits given to me because it was updated. Your Honor, may I confirm with the petitioners?
Yes, we submitted separately through a manifestation in the exhibits, and this is not included in our new binder of exhibits because it was part of the old one, Your Honor. So this was just remarked, Your Honor.
So the original marking was exhibit what?
RRR to RRR, I'm sorry, Octuple R to Octuple R-11. It was updated to Octuple R-13. Just additional some slides, Your Honors.
Oh, updated.
Yes, updated. Only updated.
All right, so there is no change in marking.
Yes, only updated markings because of the additional slides inserted during the presentation of
So the
Dr.
original
Miles Allen.
marking of series R, you added,
Yes,
and the additions are marked as exhibits.
it was, the whole document was remarked as Exhibit Octuple R to Octuple R-13. It was previously marked as Octuple R to Octuple R-11.
11. So it's up to octuple R-13.
Yes, Your
So,
Honors.
But what was added was octuple R-12
To 13, Your
to
Honor.
13. All right. Attorney Esguerra, have you taken note of that?
Yes, Your Honor. We've taken note of the and we'll make the necessary changes, Your Honor.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. And then the commission takes note of your manifestations in regard to the submission of the translation of the earlier testimonies of the witnesses earlier adverted to. You may now proceed to presenting your first witness for the day.
Good afternoon again, Your Honors. We would like to present our first witness for today, Miss Amalia Bailan.
All right, please.
Bahain, I'm sorry. Miss Amalia
Uh,
Bahian.
please bring the witness to the witness table, and may we request that she be sworn.
Mali ito. We would like to request for a seat for the translator, Your Honors.
So, as I understand it, the witness will be testifying
In Visayan.
in the Visayan language.
And it will be translated to Filipino or Tagalog.
Filipino, not to English.
Not to English, Your Honor.
All right. And then later on, you will submit an English translation of the Filipino translation.
Yes, Your Honors.
All right.
Ms. Witness, kindly raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this hearing?
Opo, yes. Your Honor, please, before I proceed, just two quick manifestations. We would respectfully request for a moment of silence because Miss Amalia Bayian's sister just died at 1 a.m. today. She's also in grief. Her sister, Virgencita Villaris, died of a stroke. So just a moment of reflection. A moment of silence. Thank you, Your Honors. The second manifestation relates to the translator, Miss Tess Gante. She's the one translating from Visayan to Tagalog or Filipino. Miss Amalia Bahian, we apologize for the incorrect translation spelling, is a victim of Sendong, tropical storm Sendong or Washi, as internationally called, and hails from Iligan City, Llano del Norte. And we are presenting her, Your Honors, to share her experience as a mother who experienced the wrath of tropical storm Sendong or Washi in Iligan City in December 2011, where she lost 3 children and 4 grandchildren, including a son-in-law. She will also share how such experience impacted her and her family's basic human rights and how it changed her life as a survivor. Before we proceed, Your Honors, may we be allowed to ask preliminary questions in relation to the document she submitted.
Please proceed.
Magandang hapon, Ginang Amalia. We also would like to explain, Your Honor, that while she can understand Tagalog, she could not actually convey and converse in Tagalog. Meron pong dokumento na 4 ang pahina na nagngalang sa isa ni Ginang Amalia Bayan. Pakitingnan po ito at masuri kung ito po ay maalala po.
Ito ang aking
Ito aking. So, pahinang pang-4, meron pong pirma dito. Sa taas po ng pangalang Amalia Bahian. Pwede niyo pong pakitingnan kung kaninong pirma po.
po aking ito.
Pinapatunayan niyo ba, Ginang Amalia Bahian, na ang nilalaman ng saysay ni Ginang Amalia Bahian ay bawang katotohanan at isinagawa po ninyo ng kusang loob?
Katotohanan.
Now, another manifestation, Your Honor, the last, is that we apologize that in the first page, with reference to her age, this is in the second Tagalog paragraph, this has already been corrected to reflect that her current age, which is 54 years old, has already been reflected in her salaysay. because in the first document, this was stated as 46. So this has already been revised and marked in page 1 in the original document, and that has already been submitted to Attorney Martin. Now, we would also like to further manifest, Your Honors, that the statement entitled Saysay ni Ginang Amalia Bahian has already been pre-marked as Monopole C, and the signature from Monopole C to Monopole C-3, and her signature has been pre-marked as Monopole 3-C-3-A last December 7, 2018. So we request the clerk to confirm this.
Your Honor, for the record, I confirm the pre-marking of the exhibits. I'd like to ask if the councils would like to mark also the correction, because I believe it hasn't been marked separately.
Yes, Your Honors. We will therefore respectfully request that the correction in page 1 with respect to her age be marked as Monopole C-3-A-1. I'm sorry, Your Honor, Monopole C-3-B. Thank you, Attorney Martin.
So all the corrections have been made, properly marked. You may now
Yes.
proceed to examining your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Ms. Amalia Bayan is now ready to make her presentation.
Ang hapon sa tanan. Ako si Amalia Bahiang, 54 ang edad. Ug nagpuyo ako sa Bayanihan Village, Santa Elena, Iligan City. Ug may anak ako nga 7 ug nawala ang 3 sa namising sa Sindong.
Magandang hapon sa lahat. Ako si Amalia Bahian, 54 ang taong gulang, nakatira sa Bayanihan Village, Santa Elena, Iligan City, at meron akong 7 anak, ang 3 nawala sa Sindong.
Nagpasalamat ako ug dako sa Greenpeace International ug sa CHR ug sa mga sponsor nga ila kong gihatagan og higayon sa pagsulti sa akong kaagi.
Nagpapasalamat ako sa Greenpeace International, sa CHR at sa mga sponsor dahil sa pagkakataong ito para maipabahagi ang aking karanasan sa Sindong.
So wala pang Sindong, pagpuyo kami sa Daplin sa Suba. Ug malipayon kami, nakauban ang akong anak ug bana. Sa 2009, nagbagyo ang undoy sa Manila. Naepektuhan ang iligan ug nabanlas ang among balay.
Sa wala pa ang Sindong, masaya kami kasama ang aming mga anak. Nakatira kami sa tabing ilog ng kasama ang aking pamilya. At nang dumating ang bagyong Ondoy, nasira, natangay ang aming bahay.
Nagtrabaho ako sa Calabandera ug akong bana nagtrabaho sa Carmel Abacat Traders. Ug miadto ako sa iyang trabahoan aron sa pagkuha sa among utangan ng bugas.
Nagtrabaho ako bilang labandera at ang asawa ko nagtrabaho sa Abacat Traders at nagpunta kami kasama ang aking anak para magkuha ng bigas sa pinagtrabahoan ng asawa ko.
Nagistorya ko sa ila nga magdali kita kay dako na kay bagong hapit na mabundak ang ulan.
Labihan ko sila na madali dahil malaki na ang ulap at malapit ng umulan.
Ipauli kami kauban akong bana ug anak. Ug dihang-hangin kaayong kusog.
Umuwi kami kasama ang aming anak at nangyari ang malakas na hangin at ulan.
Ignan ako akong anak nga pag-una nga kanang walay lubi nga mga bali nga masave lang ka. Gadagan ni nga asawa.
Sinabihan ko ang aking anak na magmamadali ka at tumakbo kami sa aking asawa para di siya matamaan ng niyog.
Pagkagabi akong gignan akong mga anak na ayaw mauglakaw kay kusog na ang ulan, kusog na kaayong hangin. Ug niingon ang akong anak na mabalhin sila sa ilang balay.
Sinabihan ko ang aking anak na may asawa na huwag umalis dahil malakas na ang ulan at hangin.
Pagkagabi nakabaho ko o bahong lapok sa among palibot. Ug niya, gawas ako paingon sa kong kusina ug diha na ko nakita ang tubig na dako.
Kinagabihan, naamoy ko ang amoy lupa sa tubig at lumabas ako doon sa pintuan ng aming kusina at doon nakita ko yung malakas na tubig baha.
Dihang nibalhin kami ang akong mga anak dito sa konkreto nga balay. Akong gidala sila para masave silang tanan ug ang isa na ko kapamilya akong kinahanglan nga masave.
At doon lumipat kami sa konkretong bahay ng aming kapitbahay para maisalba ko ang aking mga anak kasama yung mga anak kong may asawa.
Kaya nanidako na gyud pag-ayo ang tubig. Wala na gyud kami mahinom.
Pero lumakas na ang ulan at wala na talaga kaming magagawa.
Dako na kayo ang tubig ug nihangyo ko nga gub-o na lang ang atok sa balay para masave na mo sa ibabaw ang mga bata.
Malakas na ang tubig at sinira na lang namin ang bubungan ng bahay para doon kami sa itaas ng bubungan ng aking mga anak.
Nagproblema ako tungod sa akong isa ka pamilya nga anak kung asa sila karon pero nakasaka di ay sila sa balay nga among gisakaan.
Nagkaproblema ako dahil inisip ko kung saan na ang aking anak na may asawa. Pero andoon na pala sila sa bubungan ng bahay.
Pagsaka ko sa taas, misinggit akong anak nga pagdali og saka ma. Kay dako na kayo ang tubig. Nisaka ko sa taas ug nakita nako ang mga truso nga grabe kadaghan.
Sinabihan ako ng anak ko na akyat ka na mama dahil mataas na ang tubig. At doon sa bubungan ng bahay nakita ko yung maraming truso.
Ang truso mo yung guba sa mong balay ug nihugno ni ug dito kami sa tubig tanan.
Ang mga truso ang sumira sa bahay at doon kami bumagsak sa tubig.
Naanod kami paingon sa dagat ug nakita nako ang akong pag-umangkon nga naglangoy nga siya lang. Ako siyang gikuha ug gisave nako sa akong kahoy.
Naanod ako sa baha at doon nakita ko ang aking pamangkin at sinalba ko siya, kinuha ko siya, sinalba ko siya.
Pero wala ko mahimo. Dumalan ni sa akong balod ug nawala siya.
Wala akong nagawa. Dahil hinampas kami ng malakas na alon at nabitiwan ko siya, nawala siya.
Wala na nako siya nakita. May padayon na lang yung ko pagkaanod paingon sa laod.
Di ko na siya nakita at naanod na ako sa laot.
Ug dito ko sa laod ni sampit ko. Hindi na ako padayon.
Habang andoon ako sa laot, tumawag ako sa Panginoon. Panginoon, tulungan mo kami.
Ikaw lang masayon sa mga kinabuhi ng gabi una. Ikaw lang ko.
Ikaw lang ang may alam sa buhay namin ngayong gabi. Tulungan mo ako.
Napaanod ko dito paingon sa laod. Dito ko nakasinati og grabing bulas kahoy sa ako. Naging mga sin kahoy. Naanod ako doon sa laot at doon ko na-experience na binunalan ako pinampas ako ng mga kahoy, ng sin, at ang sakit ng katawan ko. Nakahulangan ako na walang dapita, lawag kining dapita daplin. Sila ng kamot ko pagpadaplin para ko maluwas. Nakita ko na doon ang tabi ng dagat at doon ako pumunta. Nakapadaplin ko, unisinggit ako. Tabangi ko niyo. Nakapunta ako sa tabi at sumigaw ako na, tulungan niyo ako. Itabangan ko sa mga tao at panisinggit sila nga, dili na mahimo kung dili ka manong kamot. Kay tungod sa kadagkong balod o kadaghang kahoy na masalipdan ko. Sinabihan ako ng mga tao na wala kaming magawa. Tulungan mo ang sarili mo dahil malakas ang baha. Ningon ang tao sa ako ang pataas sa imong kamot para makita ka kay dili ka makita sa mga tao tungod sa kahoy. Ipataas ko sa pikas kamot ko. Sabi ng tao, itaas mo yung kamay mo dahil hindi ka namin makita dahil natabunan ka sa mga troso. So pinataas ko ang kamay ko. Itaas ko ang akong kamot ug ila ko nakita na flashlightan ko nila ug niingon sila kaming kamot pagpadaplin. Nakita ako sa tao at sinabihan ako na magsikap ka pumunta dito sa tabi para maligtas ka. Ila kong gitabangan, daghan kay silang katabang ug ilang gihawilan akong kamot lubos pagali ko kaabot. Tinulungan nila ako at tinawakan nila ang kamay ko para ako maligtas. Gigunitan ako ilang kamot ug sa diyan nagunitan ko, igo na lang ko nila gibuyod paingon sa daplin. Tinawakan nila ang aking kamay at hinila nila ako papunta sa tabi. Dito ako nadala sa ENR Hospital. Nawala ako sa sarili ko. Dinala nila ako sa ENR Hospital dahil nawalan ako ng malay. Pagkamatmin ko, nakadungog ako tingid sa mga silingin na tabang. Nagkamalay ako nang narinig ko ang boses ng aking kapitbahay na naghingi ng tulong. Nadugdungan ako na ako sa di ay ka na anod sa bagyo. Naalaala ko na ako pala ay naanod ako sa isang bagyo. Sa dihang nakaabot na akong mga silingan na nag-ama. Gignan ko sila ang pangitaa ang akong anak o akong igsuon. Nang pumunta ang aking mga kapitbahay, sinabihan ko sila, mahanapin niyo ang aking mga kapatid, ang aking pamilya. Pagkahapon, nakaabot ang akong mga anak ng mga survivor. Hindi nga nagkit-anay ni. Gipangutanan ko sila og asa imong mga igsuon. Sa bandang hapon, nagpunta ang aking anak at nagkita kami at tinanong ko sila kung saan ang kanilang ama at hanapin nila. Masayod ang akong anak nga ang ilang amahan usapod ng biktima sa sindong na injured ang tiil, nabali ang tiil ug anaa sa City Hospital. Alam ng aking anak na ang kanilang ama ay nandoon sa City Hospital at na-injured, nabali, napilayan ang paa. Pag isa ka semana, gikan ko sa hospital, nihangyo ko sa doktor, mamugawas ko para makita na ko akong pamilya. Pagkatapos ng isang linggo, sabi ko sa doktor, lalabas ako para makita ko ang aking pamilya. Dili pa gusto ang doktor tungod sa taas ang akong BP. Ayaw pa ng doktor dahil mataas ang aking blood pressure. Pagpunta na ko, Niadto ako sa City Hospital aron makita nako ang sitwasyon sa akong bana. Pero nagpunta ako sa City Hospital para makita ko ang totoong sitwasyon ng aking asawa. Dito nakaistorya ang akong mga anak. Mama, wala na sila tanan ma. Doon, nagsabi ang aking anak na ma, wala na sila ma. Nawala na sila. Dito ko nasakitan na nibalaan ako ang tanan nga. Daghan kay nawala sa akong pamilya. Wala silang tanan nawala. Gabi na. At doon ako nakaramdam ng sakit. Nang nalaman ko na nawala, maraming nawala sa aking pamilya. 8 sila ang nawala. Nag-uli na kami, magkuan, 2 ka semana. Niadto kami sa akong igsuon, isa ka kami dito. Dito kami nagpuyo. Pagkatapos ng 2 linggo, umalis na kami sa City Hospital, nagpunta kami sa aming kapatid. Dili man na mo kaya nga mabaklay sa bayog, matanaw sa sitwasyon sa bayog. Kaya tungod na injured ang akong bana, magpakyaw lang kami taxi. Di namin kaya na maglakad ng mataas, tapos mahal ang pangbayad ng taxi magpunta sa Bayog Island. Naning kamot ko para lang makakuha ni og tent, matagaan ni para makabalhin ni sa tent. So, nagsikap ako para makakuha kami ng tent. Natagaan man to ni og tent. Pero gaan to sa intawon ni sa kalisod. Wala na gid kami pangita na nga panahon. Isa ka tuig mo nag-antos na wala pangita kung bana. Nabigyan kami ng tent, pero naghirap talaga kami dahil 1 taon walang hanap buhay ang aking asawa. Magtrabaho lang ako usa ka labandera para mabuhi na ko akong pamilya. Nagtrabaho ako bilang isang labandera para mabuhay ko ang aking pamilya. May anak ako nag-eskwela o grade 6. May anak ako nag-eskwela na grade 6. Nakagraduate siya elementarya na high school siya, nakuha siya sa sagip ka pamilya. Nag-graduate siya ng grade 6 at nakuha siya ng first year high school sa sagip ka pamilya. Pero naundang ang iyang sagip sa pagsikanyo niya tungod kay ubos na kayo siya grado. Pero nahinto ang tulong sa sagip ka pamilya ng second year high school siya dahil mababa ang grado. Ito hanggang ngayon, wala pa gid kami intawong insaktong panginabuhian. Hanggang ngayon, wala pa talaga kaming insaktong hanap buhay. Nabigyan kami ng balay sa gobyerno sa San Miguel. Pero dako kayong kakulangan tungod sa buslot ang balay namo. Nabigyan man kami ng bahay galing sa San Miguel. Pero naghirap kami dahil tumutulo pag umuulan. Karon wala na gid ni nagtrabaho og balik ang akong bana sa Carmel, Abaca. Naka-recover na siya sa MPA, pero dili siya basta-basta nga makatrabaho og bugat. Ngayon, bumalik sa pagtatrabaho ang aking asawa sa Abaca at dahil gumaling na ang kanyang pero hindi pa sapat ang kanyang kita para sa aming pamilya. Pasalamat ako sa tanan sa paghatag gidayon sa ako sa pag-istorya sa akong nagian kasinatian sa akong kinabuhi. Kaya nagpapasalamat ako sa lahat dahil nabigyan ako itong pagkakataon para maipabahagi ang istorya ng aking buhay.
Maraming salamat po, Ginang Amalia Bayan. Your Honors, may we be allowed to ask a few questions?
Please go ahead.
Kumusta po kayo, Ginang Amalia Bayan, na lumipas na ang 7 taon?
Ito, kami sublisod ng gihapon. Naging hirap lang. Naging hirap pa rin.
Bukod doon sa binanggit po ninyong epekto sa inyong kabuhayan, ano pang epekto ng bagyong Sendong sa inyong buhay at sa inyong pamilya?
Sa Bagyong Sindong,
Ulitin ko lang po, bukod doon sa binanggit niyong epekto sa kabuhayan, meron pa bang ibang epekto ang naturang bagyo, ang bagyong Sendong sa inyo?
gawa sa imong nastorya nga kasinatian, unsa pa may laing na imong epekto sa imuha sa Bagyong Sindong.
Binanggit niyo po kasi sa inyong salaysay na meron kayong, sa salaysay po niyo, binanggit niyo yung trauma. Baka pwede pong pakihiwatig pa ng dagdag. Baka pwede i-translate po.
Dahil sa tungod sa imuhang na paambit nga kasinatian nga nadunay nahitabo nimo sa kanang kahadlok pa tungod sa sindong, unsa pa may uban pa nga epekto nga nahitabo sa imuhang. Hindi mo na unta ang mga unsa daw ang uban pa nga epekto sa imuha sa imong panginabuhi. Epekto sa imong panginabuhi. Unsa pa? Gawas pa sa imong gisulti. Ang giingon ni attorney, unsa pa gawas sa imong na istorya na paambit, unsa pa man ang uban pa nimo nga nasinatian nga epekto pagkawala sa imong trauma ka panginabuhian ilabot na sa mga negosyo dito sa imong makadaot sa katawhan.
Ang tanong ko, binanggit mo kasi yung trauma. Baka pwede pang maipaliwanag ito.
Kanang katong imong gihisgutan nga natruma ka pre anang mahadlok ka. Mahadlok ko sa hangin, mahadlok ko sa ulan. Di na ko gusto mo tanaw dagat ug suba. Sabi niya natakot ako sa ulan, sa hangin at ayaw ko nang tumingin sa ilog.
Meron mo ba kayong gustong mensahe na gustong maipahiwatig sa mga kapwa mamamayan din na karanas po ng ganitong karanasan?
Ipabot ko sa ila nga ila untang undangon ug dili man nila no ug dili sila muundang nangita sila pamaagi nga dili madaot ang kamikasan. Dito kong iparating sa kanila na hinto na kung hindi sila makahanap ng paraan na hindi masisira ang ating kalikasan.
Kanino pong yung mensahe na yon gusto maibigay?
Ipabot ko dito sa mga negosyante ng mga plantation, mga planta. Gusto kong ipaabot sa mga negosyante na may mga planta na nakasira sa kalikasan.
That would be all, Your Honors. Maraming
Thank you
salamat.
very much. Dr. Walpole, do you have questions? I have no questions also for the witness, but I wish to relay my condolence on the death of her sister just a few hours ago. It's very brave of her to continue on with her testimony, reliving a tragic incident that happened 7 years ago and another tragic incident that happened just a few hours ago. So please accept our condolences and thank you very much for coming here.
We request, Your Honor, that the source person be excused.
Witness is excused. Maraming salamat po.
Daghang salamat. Okay na po.
Maraming salamat.
Counsels, are you ready to present your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor, maybe our next witness is via Skype, Your Honor, because she's currently attending an important work-related seminar. So she extends her apologies of not being here today. She is Monica Piquera Tan. She's a Super Typhoon Yolanda or Haiyan survivor and Research and Planning Officer of the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office of the Municipality of San Francisco, Camotes Island, Cebu. May we know from our IT if Monica is already online? Magandang hapon, Monica.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon po sa lahat. Pasensya na ho na hindi ako nakarating personally kasi meron din akong po i-call important related sa trabaho. Yes po.
Monica, nakikita mo ba kami? Sa iyong Skype? Naririnig at nakikita mo ba kami, Monica? Yes,
Yes,
Monica.
po. Apo. Yes, yes. Nakita ko po. Okay. Yeah, nakita ko po. Yes po. Yes po.
Okay, may delay.
Narinig ko po.
Salamat, Miss Monica. Your Honor, there is just a delay. Your Honor, we are presenting Miss Monica Piquera Tan to share her experience as a single parent with 2 kids who survived the wrath of Super Typhoon Yolanda or Haiyan on November 8, 2013, and her experience in disaster risk reduction and management, wherein her community, Camotes Island, Cebu, experienced 0 casualty. Your Honor, before we proceed, I would like to ask some preliminary question regarding the document that Ms. Monica Tan submitted to this Honorable Commission.
Go ahead. Will you not identify first the pre-markings that have been made on the document?
Yes, Your Honor, may we ask for Ms. Monica Tan to confirm the submission because I cannot personally show her the document, but she has the document with
All
her.
right, please go ahead.
Ms. Monica, do you confirm and affirm that you've submitted before this Honorable Commission a document entitled Statement of Ms. Monica Piquera Tan dated December 3, 2018,
Yes,
consisting of 8 pages?
Yes.
Okay. There is a signature on the 8th page of above the name Monica Piquera Tan. Do you confirm your signature on that page? Hello, Monica?
Yes po.
Okay. Your Honor, may we manifest that this exhibit or statement of Ms. Monica Piquera Tan dated December 3, consisting of 8 pages, will be marked as monopole Q to monopole Q-7, and the signature was pre-marked as monopole Q-7-A. May we ask from the clerk for the confirmation of this pre-marking?
For the record, Your Honor, confirming the pre-marking as manifested by the Council for Petitioners.
Ms. Monica, maaari na po kayo magsalita at ibahagi ang inyong kwento.
Okay po, pasensya na minsan kasi medyo siya choppy. So, yeah, I'm Miss Monica Piquerotan, a solo parent of 2 kids. Yung isa is 14 years old. Tapos yung isa,
Sige lang, Monica, naririnig ka namin.
ganyan nga ba? I'm presently working as a research and planning officer in the newly created office at the municipality of San Francisco, Camotes Island, Cebu.
Monica, tuloy na lang yung headset mo. Naririnig ka namin, dire-diretso lang natin. Salamat.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Sige po. Okay. So, I was, nakapag-experience ako ng dalawang, typhoon. Yung first na typhoon is, Typhoon Nita. And I was, 12 years old. Wherein, nakikita ko talaga yung lugar namin before leaving the coastal shores. Kung paano siya ka-devastated. Tapos, paano mabuhay na walang kuryente, walang tubig, tapos enough yung pagkain for the area. Na nung time na yun, yung government natin is hindi pa siya masyado o disaster risk management. So, then the second disaster that I was experiencing is the Typhoon Yolanda, wherein nagtrabaho na ako bilang research and planning officer in the new office, the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, wherein na hindi gano'n really hard kasi yung opisina is bago. Tapos yung mga preparations on Yolanda is grabe kasi nasa coastal areas wherein yung based on the typhoon tracker na malakas na typhoon, sinabing super typhoon. Pero yung first na observation namin sa mga typhoon tracker is hapon pa siya, that late in the gabi na tumawag yung isang friend ko from Albay na earlier, kumbaga mag-arrive yung Typhoon Yolanda as earlier as unexpected. So, pinabahan ako kasi even na we are on the coastal municipalities, tapos yung mga preparations na dapat na-save na namin yung communities, including yung mga vulnerable families living in the coastal shores, na kailangan na sila sa safety evacuation areas. Meron pa rin mga families na hard-headed na hindi nag-evacuate, na kailangan pa namin evacuate in the early morning at hindi namin pwedeng magawa kasi given wala na kaming oras. Tapos, yung isla kasi namin is very vulnerable on the power of the electricity. Pag malakas na yung hangin, wala na siyang kuryente. So, nakikita ko talaga kung yung naibalik yung trauma ko yung wala sa experience hypolitam. Tapos, at the same time, ganito na naman yung super typhoon Yolanda wherein ang trauma ko nung nangyari way back 32 years ago, mas lalo siyang kinabahan ako kasi given I have my kids now, may dalawa akong anak, tapos yung responsibility ko to keep safety for the almost 50,000 population of the entire island, covering 15 barangays, kailangan mo rin may safety sila. At the same time, yung mga responders na nasa area, na frontline doon sa disaster risk, so kailangan mo siya pagplanuhan. Tapos, even ng 2000, yung panahon na yun na hindi pa masyado oriented yung mga tao, yung mga local disaster risk reduction management council and their task on how to handle that big in the preparations, and hindi pa masyado well-oriented sa management tasks. At kung maglilay ka naman doon sa BDRMC, kulang din yung tao na comparing the risk of the entire population of the respective barangay. So, ang tabako, tapos yung plus yung offer for being sa Sakaw awardee of the municipality na kailangan mong na walang mamatay kasi parang nakatingin lahat yung mga international communities na ito yung San Francisco na award for risk reduction, dapat walang mamatay. Pero hindi lang yun, yung una talaga is the safety of the communities and especially for the vulnerable families living in the outskirts. Tapos yun, kita ko how big is the responsibility is. Tapos meron pa kami mga kapitbahay na doon nag-evacuate sa amin. Tapos around 7 o'clock in the morning, tandaan ko pa na yung mga responders namin, we did suicidal exclusion. Kailangan pa nilang i-rescue yung mga families nila na
Continue ka lang, Monica. Narinig ka namin.
Yun, tapos nung nalaman ko na sponsors na yung Tacloban, doon ako mas lalong kinabahan kasi merong mga families pa na nasa coastal na areas na hindi nag-evacuate. So, yung tabako lang na paano ba i-handle yung ganito kalaki na responsibilidad na as a solo parent, at the same time, you have your community to oversee. Tapos meron ka pang mga responders na kailangan mo tingnan kung how they functions, at saka yung mga kapitbahay mo na hindi rin sila handa. Even though we are conducting a preemptive evacuation, meron din kami family preparedness, but these things are not enough to face that catastrophe na sa big as Typhoon Yolanda. So around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, first thing na pagkatapos na nakita ko na hindi na yung hangin, naglakad ako from my residence going to the emergency operations center to make sure kung andun ba lahat yung mga responders, nakabalik na sila. At the same time, yung mga yung mga to make sure para ma-monitor yung 15 barangays na safety na sila, including yung mga families na nasa coastal core. So, at the same time, nakikita ko na dahil devastated yung lugar, maraming bahay yung nasira. Tapos, yung unang-unang ko, paano pakainin yung yun na nasa more than 10,000 household or more than 10,000 families in the evacuation centers na island community kami na yung food namin is we are dependent on the mainland. Pero given that you have a big responsibility during those times, kahit ano may kataba, kailangan mo rin ipakita na strong ka so that you can manage the impact of the disasters, or you can manage your responsibility. Kasi kailangan mo yun hindi kailangan mo maging strong for your kids, for the neighbors, wala umaasa sa iyo, yung mga respondents, nilagay ng order at saka direction from you, at saka yung kabuang safety ng municipality. So, yun, kailangan harapin mo ng buong tapang. So, I think, lastly, kailangan lang siguro na even dun sa effect dun sa Typhoon Yolanda na malaki yung nawala na kuryente, internet, nawalan kami ng tubig, maraming bahay na tapos yung lugar ko nasa poblasyon, so kailangan, kasi malapit kami sa hospital, kailangan ma-reconnect diretso yung electricity kasi nasa lifetimes kami. Tapos makikita mo na tumataas ang mga binigin dahil nasa coastal kayo, tapos wala pang kakain na dumating. So hapon 2 years pa after the typhoon, nakarating yung food packs, pero hindi ka na pwedeng kumuha ng food packs, wala kang assessment result, damit assessment result. So yung both of responsibility being a single mother, tapos doing those jobs na sabihin natin na hindi talaga pang babae, kundi pang lalaki na responsibilidad. So nakikita ko na with an opportunity also na to inspire yung sentences ko at saka yung task to be research and planning officer, yung nakayanan namin kung paano harapin yung Yolanda at saka yung family preparedness na inanong namin yung sa community. It really helps to the entire preparedness for the entire municipality in achieving the zero casualty. Wherein nag-inspire din sa akin to teach, to reach out, to conduct some trainings, helping those municipalities like Tacloban and Giwan, which are also affected by Typhoon Yolanda, in conducting planning on those family preparedness and response to typhoon. So yung mga ganun na kahit nasa down point it really help and reach out some other municipalities na nangangailangan ng tulong. It really helps you to cover up some of your trauma, at it will really help you also to strengthen yung faith mo, strengthen yung pagkatao mo to reach out from those people and communities that are in need. So, siguro yung pinakahabot ko doon is yung fulfillment mo na kahit babae ka, kahit single parent ka, kahit mother ka, kailangan mo rin gampanan yung mga trabaho na kayanan mo nga gampanan yung big responsibilities if you really did your best for the safety of your community. I think that's all.
Maraming salamat, Monica. Your Honors, may I be allowed to ask some questions to Monica?
Please go ahead.
Hi, Monica. Magtatanong lang ako ng personal question. You mentioned earlier that you are a solo parent during that time.
Yes, kasi nag-e-echo kasi siya eh. Yes, nag-e-echo talaga.
Naka-under ata yung mo, Monica, yung live streaming mo.
Yes,
Patayin mo lang yung live streaming at pakinggan mo lang ako sa Skype, Monica.
salamat.
Okay na, Monica? So you mentioned that you were a solo parent at that time. Sorry to ask this. How does being a single parent in times of calamities look like?
Yes po. Okay po. Yeah, mahirap na. Mahirap. Sobrang hirap kasi kailangan mong maging matatag for your kids. Kailangan mo rin maging matatag for your communities that you work in. At saka yung sa mga kapitbahay mo. Mahirap talaga siya.
Monica, you also mentioned earlier about some government projects that were implemented in your municipality. Do you think these government projects were sufficient?
Yes, ma'am. No, it's not enough to address the facing this negative impact of climate change. Yung mga programa natin sa government, hindi talaga yun enough to address those different tasks.
Recommendations would you like this commission to put forward to support communities impacted by climate change, like your community? Monica?
Yes po. Hello po.
Narinig mo ba yung kaninang tanong ko?
Pakiulit po, ma'am.
What recommendations would you like this commission to put forward to support communities impacted by climate change? Since earlier you mentioned that the programs of government are
I
doing
think
not enough.
siguro is yung recommendation, yung recommendation ko na pwede kong is kailangan siguro the commission will come up with policies tasking yung mga carbon meter emitters to be a part of the solutions. Given kasi ngayon yung mga local government are doing their comprehensive land use planning or any local development plan. So I think kailangan ng mga carbon meter emitters that should be a part in the formulation of the planning so that they will also know, the negative impact of climate hazards in the respective municipalities. And they will also know in we are doing our projections in the forward planning, they will know their rules and they will know their contributions kasi hindi naman lahat ng mga projects, programs and activities na kailangan suportahan ng government. We need also support from a private institution, especially in the business sectors, doing their corporate social responsibilities in using DCSR in the implementation of some adaptive capacities, helping enhancing the adaptive capacities of the different local government.
Thank you, Monica. I'd like to ask, how are you today? Kamusta ka after the super typhoon Haiyan? And can you say that you are fully recovered from the effects of the super typhoon? You and your family, your kids?
I think hindi pa ganun ka full recovered. Siguro sa mga kids, medyo nag-adjust pa rin sila pero meron pa rin silang takot when sabihin na may typhoon. Tapos yung sa akin siguro, I'm very more sensitive. Sensitive doon sa mga when I conducted the trainings, especially on those mga areas were very affected on typhoon, Haiyan. Yung makikita ko yung mga different videos, we have kasi mga videos na ipakita namin doon sa mga trainings when we conducted our disaster risk reduction management plan. Napaiyak pa rin ako kasi yung I'm very sensitive because hindi pa ganun already ka-prepared yung government in facing a major disasters and facing the different impact of climate change. Hindi pa tayo ganun ready to face this So kailangan pa nating maraming gawin, to make us ready, to make us the families ready in preparing all this impact of climate change. So ano pa, nangiyak-iyak pa ako pag na-recall ko yung mga videos na nakikita ko from time to time when we conducted our training.
Monica, do you have any message to mothers like you who are also experience this kind of devastating event?
I think, I think, I think dun sa mga nanay, kahit nag-iisa kayo, tapos you have a great faith on God, kasi iba-iba tayo na yung mga purpose in life. Kami kasi dun sa mga, kailangan na siguro natin maging matatatag para sa mga anak natin. At tapos, kailangan natin i-educate i-educate natin yung mga bata doon sa impact ng climate change at the same time, yung how to reduce the risk at saka orient doon sa mga bata on the impact of the different hazards in their lives and the communities. At isa pa siguro kailangan din ituturo, especially for the nanay, to teach their kids and the family preparedness. So I think there will be always a family plan, a family preparedness, so that kung hindi man ma-address lahat ng government yung mga dapat gawain nila, so at still at the family level, alam na nila kung ano yung dapat nilang gawin. Because that family preparedness it really helps in municipality of San Francisco to achieve a zero casualty.
Maraming salamat, Monica. Yun lang ang katanungan ko sa iyo. Ibibigay kita ngayon sa komisyon kung meron silang karagdagang katanungan. Your Honors.
Thank you very much. Dr. Walpole, do you have questions for the witness? Dr. Walpole Lesnan, I have no question also. Thank you very much, Monica, for testifying today.
Thank you po, thank you po.
Okay. Councils, you may now proceed to your...
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Salamat, Monica, ulit.
Yes, Your Honors. Our resource person will also make the presentation on Skype, Ms. Laura Gait. But we need to check, Your Honors, if she's already available.
All right,
Because
we can, while our technical people are trying to link up with her, we can take a 5-minute break.
that would
All
be-
right,
thank you.
we'll,
Your Honors.
adjourn for 5 minutes.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Iyan mo na lang. Hindi ako nila private call na lang.
Hi, Laura. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Ms. Lara,
Hello.
good evening and good morning, Jen.
Can you hear us, Laura?
Yes, I can hear you. Isabel, can you turn it down a little bit more? Just a little. Hi, I can't hear anything now.
Hi, Laura. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is GT Griselda Mayo Anda. Yeah.
Hello.
We will start in 5 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Less than 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Dear honors,
All right, we shall now resume the inquiry session. Councils.
good afternoon again, your honors. Our third resource person and the last witness for today is Miss Laura Guide. She is a senior legal advisor of campaigns at Oxfam International. And we are presenting her as a witness and resource person to share her expertise on the topic of just energy transition and the requirements that can be made by corporations to ensure that they act responsibly in relation to the climate risks and impacts of their businesses. Before we proceed, Your Honors, may we be allowed to ask preliminary questions?
Please proceed.
Um, Good afternoon, Laura, and good morning, Rare. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well, thanks.
Okay. I would like you to confirm the 3 documents you submitted, Laura. Can I call you Laura?
Yes.
Okay. There's a document entitled Statement of Resource Person Laura Guide, consisting of 4 pages. Do you confirm and affirm this document?
Yes, I do.
And in the fourth page of this document, there's a signature which appears above the name Laura Guide. Is this your signature?
Yes, it is.
And another document, well, before I proceed, the document entitled Statement of Resource Person Laura Guide has been remarked, Your Honors, as Memo per F to Memo per F-3, and the signature as Memo per F-3-A. The next document, Ms. Laura, this refers to a curriculum vitae consisting of one page. You confirm and affirm this document?
I do.
This document, curriculum vitae, has been pre-marked as Memo per G. And the last document, consisting of 4 pages, is a printed PowerPoint presentation of Ms. Laura Guide, consisting of 4 pages. Do you confirm and affirm the submission and the contents of this document?
I do, yes.
The last document, Your Honors, has been pre-marked as Memo per H to Memo per H-3. And at this juncture, may we request Attorney Martin to confirm the pre-marking of this exhibits last December 7, 2018.
Your Honors, confirming the manifestation of the markings as manifested by the counsel.
All right, thank you very much, counsel. So may now proceed to present your witness.
Thank you, Your Honors. Ms. Laura, you can now proceed. You may now proceed to make your presentation.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the petitioners for the invitation to speak on behalf of Oxfam today and say that we are honoured to give evidence at the hearing today. To introduce Oxfam a little first. Oxfam is a confederation of 20 independent charitable organisations focusing on the alleviation of global poverty. Oxfam has been operating in the Philippines for 30 years, working on addressing economic and gender inequalities, the causes of conflicts, and in saving lives during emergencies. Oxfam responded with aid in the immediate aftermath of Haiyan. We worked in securing access to water, sanitation and hygiene, in provisioning emergency food and livelihoods, and ensuring that gender and protection were addressed in the emergency response. The response was Oxfam's biggest humanitarian response in the Philippines to date, and it reached more than 800,000 people. Since the emergency response, Oxfam's work has focused on sustainable reconstruction, on housing and on livelihoods. As I'm sure the commissioners are aware, Haiyan destroyed 1/3 of the rice-growing areas in the Philippines, 33 million coconut trees, and 30,000 boats. So Oxfam's work more recently has focused on repairing boats and nets, clearing trees and building housing. And after 1 month, Oxfam distributed 400 tons of rice seed. So this is to demonstrate the work that Oxfam has done in relation to Typhoon Haiyan. And another important response for Oxfam has been to make sure that the link between climate change and Typhoon Haiyan has been clear. So Oxfam has been campaigning for governments and for big companies to cut emissions and to help communities deal with changing weather directly in response to what happened in Typhoon Haiyan. I understand that the Commission have heard directly the expert evidence of people who were impacted by Typhoon Haiyan. So we don't propose to say more on the human rights impacts in this presentation, but instead we'll focus on just and inclusive energy transition, which we understand has come up in the hearing so far. And secondly, on requirements that can be made of corporates on climate risk and impacts. So turning to the next slide and beginning to discuss just transition. And I should say that I'm presenting on behalf of Oxfam, but I've worked with my colleagues in Oxfam in the Philippines and in our private sector teams to develop the materials for this presentation. So now I'll set out Oxfam's analysis of the elements of a just and inclusive energy transition. This slide sets out where some of the key definitions of just transition are located. And I should say at the outset that Oxfam supports this work. It's really been led by organisations like the International Trade Union Confederation, but it's something that Oxfam has taken into its work on energy. Essentially, if the world does not limit climate change to 1.5 degrees, we risk real and imminent setbacks to the fight against hunger and poverty. Yet the choices we make on how to get there are equally important to achieving a world without hunger and poverty. Energy transition, in fact, represents an opportunity to mitigate the impacts of climate change. That's why Oxfam advocates for a just and inclusive energy transition that reaches net zero emissions globally in order to prevent the brutal impacts of climate change on hunger and poverty, yet does this whilst meeting the Sustainable Development Goals and without compromising poor people's access to energy, right to develop, or food and land security, and one that also guarantees workers a say in how to shape the transition. So Oxfam supports the call for a just transition away from fossil fuels as defined by the International Trade Union Confederation, i.e. the process needed to ensure that workers are treated fairly during the transition to a low-carbon economy. This could be economy-wide, led by governments, or at the level of companies, might typically include measures to retrain workers, invest in alternative green jobs, responsibly manage closures of, for example, coal plants, guarantee social protections, or ensure that wider communities, for example, communities in old industrial areas, are not stranded as part of the transition. This should include workers as well as affected communities impacted within the energy supply chain. Most importantly, these plans must be agreed via social dialogue, where workers and communities have a seat at the table and a say in how the transition is managed. These efforts should seek to actively engage female workers, ensuring their voices are being heard in these spaces, given that support to women and youth-led climate and energy innovation, entrepreneurship and job creation is key in addressing women and youth unemployment and poverty. We believe that by achieving a social consensus on how to go about the low-carbon energy transition, it will be not only fairer, but faster. Specifically, Oxfam calls for coal energy plants to be phased out in this manner as soon as possible between 2020 to 2030 in the richest countries, by 2040 for upper middle income countries, and by 2050 for the rest of the world, and all fossil fuels phased out of electricity generation by 2050, accompanied by a phase-in of 100% sustainable renewable energy for all. This must occur fastest in developed countries and amongst other non-state actors with most responsibility and capability. For developing countries with lower responsibility and capability, the transition will be provisional and possible only with financial, technological and capacity building support. Next slide, please. So to turn to some key elements of a just transition, we've discussed transitioning away from fossil fuels. To move on to energy access. By energy access, we mean ensuring affordable, reliable and quality energy for all. That's both electricity and clean cooking, as per Sustainable Development Goal 7. Since 2014, governments have agreed the 2030 Agenda, which formalises a commitment to reach universal energy access, Sustainable Development Goal 7. According to the latest figures from Sustainable Energy for All, the Philippines had reached 91% electricity access and 45% access to clean cooking. Evidence shows that having affordable, reliable, safe access to electricity and clean cooking is particularly beneficial for women. Women and girls are typically responsible for collecting fuel and for preparing meals. If basic energy services were designed and directed to reduce arduous domestic workloads, the women and girls who do this work could have more time to engage in education, paid work, and political participation. Progress has been made in defining meaningful energy access for productive use and beyond. The global tracking framework considers a number of attributes, recognizing it is more complex than a binary measure of whether households have a connection or not. It's no good having electricity that only works for a few hours a day, or has repeated blackouts, or that people cannot afford to pay for. Likewise, while one solar lantern is better than nothing, a higher level of energy services is required to lift people out of poverty. Turning now to renewable energy, so the shift from fossil fuels into renewable energy. Maximising the potential available for the Philippines to achieve universal energy access for all and to transition towards renewables comes at a time when the technologies and systems required are fast declining in cost. Renewable energy is becoming increasingly cost competitive with fossil fuels, reaching parity or cheaper in numerous markets, in both developed and developing countries. And this is before the externalities of fossil fuel energy generation are taken into account. Oxfam estimates in a recent report that every dollar invested in a coal plant in Asia could result in $10 associated climate change damage in Asia alone, and up to $100 in local air pollution costs. The extent of the potential in renewables remains high for the Philippines. In 2014, approximately 71% of total final energy consumption came from fossil fuels, with 29% from renewables. And action on this is reflected in the 2008 Renewable Energy Act in the Philippines. That concludes my opening submissions on just transition. If we could move to the next slide. Thank you. We can look at requirements that can be made of the corporate sector on climate change risk. Oxfam recommends that companies, especially energy and financial companies, must A. measure and disclose climate risks and climate-related impacts in line with the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure, and B. publish their Scope 1, 2, and where relevant 3 greenhouse gas emissions and formulate reduction targets in line with the Paris Agreement. To go into the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure in a little more detail. This is an industry-led task force that was established by the Financial Stability Board, itself an international organisation focusing on the global financial system that includes the G20, the European Commission, and members of the previous Financial Sustainability Forum. The task force is an industry-led task force, and it provides a model for the transparency requirements that can be made of companies on climate change. The task force recommendations are voluntary, described as voluntary, consistent climate-related financial risk disclosures for use by companies in providing information to investors, to lenders, insurers, and or stakeholders. They cover physical, liability, and transition risks. As to whether these standards are voluntary or mandatory, Oxfam takes the position that many others in the sector take, that legal requirements on companies already cover a duty to disclose material risks. And this type of climate risk is a material risk to these companies. So rather than seeing the standards purely as voluntary, we would look to that legal duty and then see these guidelines set out by the task force as best practice guidance on how to implement that duty. In addition, Aviva and other large companies are also calling for the standards to be made more clearly mandatory. So they published their first report in June 2017, and they were clear in that report that based on the Paris Agreement, this needs to happen away from fossil fuels, and they recommended several key aspects. The first was that climate disclosures should be made in mainstream financial reporting by companies, not in various bits and pieces through the year and in different documents. They recommended that key disclosures be made on 4 core areas: on risk, strategy, governance, and metrics and targets. And finally, they recommended that companies also model climate-related scenarios and report on that in their main reports also. In September 2018, the task force published its first status report, By this stage, the task force recommendations had over 500 corporate supporters and also the support of many governments. They reviewed practice so far and recognised that it hadn't been long since their initial report, that the majority of companies were disclosing some information on climate risk, but the financial implications were often not disclosed, and there was most frequently no central report bringing together all of the climate-related information. The Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure has an oil and gas preparer forum. That forum was built of only 4 fossil fuel companies, the companies that have been most active in supporting the task force, and those are Eni, Equinor, Shell, and Total. In the first stages report, they reported slower progress on strategy and on metrics and targets in their sector. I'll just move to the final paragraphs of my statement. So in addition to corporate reporting following the task force guidelines, Oxfam recommends that central banks must require financial institutions to publish their social and environment, including climate change related risks, publish risk management strategies under relevant climate and climate policy scenarios, and formulate and publish greenhouse gas reduction targets in line with the Paris Agreement and the Task Force on Climate Financial Disclosures as well. Finally, we recommend that private banks should end support for all new coal extraction and delivery and all new coal-fired power plant projects worldwide, and end support for all coal companies that plan new coal investments or which have existing investments in coal above a certain threshold. And that concludes my presentation this morning. I'm very happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Laura, for your presentation. Your Honors, may we be allowed to ask a few questions?
Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you again, Ms. Laura. How would the Filipinos benefit from the just transition away from fossil fuels that you mentioned?
Yeah, there are various benefits. The core one clearly is averting climate change with all of the risks that that brings to the Filipino nation and people. But secondly, there are also job benefits. So in the transition away from coal, a recent UNEP report found that the investment potential for renewables in the Philippines was $20 billion by 2030. And generally we expect significant jobs, both from construction of renewable energy plants and long-term operational jobs. So there's a jobs benefit too. In terms of energy security, currently the Philippines imports 90% of its fossil fuels. Locally generated renewables provides domestic energy security. Finally, air pollution is a really key benefit of a just transition to renewable energy. The World Health Organization in May 2018 ranked the Philippines third highest for number of deaths from air pollution. And it's well established that pollution around coal plants and also from unclean cooking fuels is a real health issue in the Philippines. From the figures that we gave earlier in the presentation and the costs of investing in coal to climate damage, you can see the scale of the savings that we would expect in terms of health and also mortalities from the improvement in air pollution.
Thank you, Laura. For poor communities in the Philippines who do not have adequate access to energy, how can they gain access to modern electricity and even clean cooking in the most cost-effective way without conflicting with the 1.5 degrees?
The International Energy Agency recently found that universal electricity access would only amount to carbon emissions equivalent to 0.2% of global emissions, which is then more than offset by the reductions in greenhouse gas emissions from the shift from biomass and other fuels to things like liquefied petroleum gas for clean cooking. So it's well established that it's possible to provide energy access for all without endangering the 1.5 target. In terms of how that's done, that's a national planning process that needs to be participatory and transparent. But we could expect to see things like an integrated approach to energy planning, looking at decentralized systems, both on-grid and off-grid, and energy storage solutions. A big role for solar PV, most likely. And through that national process that involves people in designing their own energy access, our information is that it's more than possible to achieve both of those objectives.
Thanks again. I have a question in relation to what you mentioned, that there are four fossil fuel companies who have actually been part, they get it right, in relation to the task force on climate financial disclosures. Did I get you right? Are there certain fossil fuel companies involved?
Yes, so in terms of that oil and gas provider forum, there are the four that are listed. I had a look at the list of companies that are supporting the task force guidance, and as at September 2018, of the over 500 companies that are supporting the guidelines, only 14 are listed as energy companies, and of those, I think 7 are listed in the respondents to the Commission inquiry. So it's a very low number, particularly given that these companies have the greatest climate responsibility and climate portfolio.
Thank you. So you mentioned also that the compliance has not been satisfactory. Could you elucidate further on that?
Yeah, so even in the oil and gas forum, where Shell and Total, Eni and Equinor have taken the lead, in their reporting back, they describe how difficult things like setting targets and metrics are for this type of company, and say that they expect to see more rapid progress on governance than they do on the real detail of the climate disclosure. And our position would be that's simply not fast enough. They're dragging their heels, and even within that forum, the compliance is still not at the level that we think they're capable of.
Thank you, Ms. Laura. Your Honors, as the Commission has questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Walpole. Do you have a question for the witness?
If I may. Thank you very much for this very precise presentation, Laura Gaya. I'm just looking at the situation where you're talking of the task force on the one hand and the major oil companies, and the realities, for example, of where we're sitting in the Philippines, where we're moving ahead with building, 30 coal-fired plants, primarily in Mindanao. Yeah, 25. Yeah. They're going ahead with various companies will be importing the coal. It doesn't affect any of these larger companies. And the investments are made. This has a 25, 50-year lifetime by the time you get your investments back. So nobody's very cued into changing the style of business at the moment. It seems to be very profitable, and they promise to have clean brushes on the chimney stacks. Where do we bridge that discussion with, shall I say, these smaller production operations, construction and production operations.
Mm. I think that's where the discussion has been with investors and with people, because clearly there are short-term profit motives, but there are real short and long-term financial, health and other risks of those projects. So the task force guidelines set out the financial risk, and organisations like the World Health Organization and studies developed in the Philippines point out the health and other risks and the benefits that communities are missing out on in terms of clean, sustainable jobs in alternative renewable energies. So I think Oxfam's position would be that's a national conversation that needs to happen with all of those sectors, with those small companies, with the people investing in those companies and facilitating the projects, and with the people who are then impacted.
Yeah. Part of the sense of it is they're going to build them on the coastal areas anyway, where the coal is imported, so the sea breeze will blow it away. They're not going to get caught up in the smoke of it. So it's hard to bring about the accountability, shall I say, that you speak of on a global level. How to bring that accountability from the global to the local. Because, for example, it's many different corporations are involved in this to bring their technical expertise in, and it happens to be coal. Yeah. So how to bridge that is a challenge locally, because we see that this is, it's a very small contribution to the global, and it can be immediate. So I don't know if you can address that.
And so I think that the greatest responsibility lies with the companies and the governments most responsible for historical climate change, and that's the starting point. But at the same time, there is real leadership in the Philippines on renewable energy and within civil society. And so, in a way, I wish my Oxfam and the Philippines colleagues here were here with you to have that discussion about the national context and how to introduce not necessarily accountability, but the positive focus on the opportunities from climate change and the benefits that a shift away from fossil fuels and into renewables could have, both for the economy, for health, and for energy security also.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Dumpit, you have questions for the witness also? None? All right, I just have a few questions for you, Laura. First time, I'm wondering how you arrived at the figure of 1:10 in terms of investments on coal plants and the value of damage to attributable to climate change, or $100 valued in terms of air pollution. How did you arrive at these figures?
Yeah, so those figures are from the recent Oxfam reports from October 2018, so last month, a couple of months ago, called Powering the Transition. And the methodology by which we arrived at those figures, I don't have that with me to hand, but I can certainly send in a note afterwards if that would be helpful.
All right, so I will request the councils to have those materials or computations submitted before the commission and marked in exhibit. My second question is, you mentioned that there seems to be now, in terms of development in technology, a parity in the cost of producing renewable energy versus fossil fuel, or in fact, you even implied that it might even be cheaper. Can you give us a time frame at advances in technology where it can definitely be said already that if that is possible for you to do so, that at a certain point, X number of years from today, it will actually be already cheaper to produce to engage in renewable energy versus fossil fuels?
Yeah, so Oxfam carried out detailed research on this just this year, and actually in many developed and developing countries, renewables are already at parity or cheaper than fossil fuels. There have been really significant cost reductions in the last few years. And actually I had put in a lot more detail on that and then took it out because I wasn't sure how much detail you would want to get into on the renewable energy side. But again, if that's something that you're interested in following up in more detail, I can certainly put in a supplementary note with the extra detail on that in terms of some examples and where the studies are that we use to show that.
Thank you very much. So again, a reminder to councils for petitioners to submit those and properly marked in exhibit. In relation to that, would you be able to cite any of the carbon majors that have been included in this case as investors in this movement towards transitioning into renewable energy?
Mm-hmm. So the detail on that isn't something that I have. My sense of it is most of them are not leading. But in terms of which are the outliers, I don't have that information. Again, my colleagues would, and I'm very happy to follow up on that if that's helpful.
So again, I requested the councils to submit materials or information on that matter. Then the last point is that I'd like to hear more the Oxfam's take on that tension or moral debate regarding the urgency of transitioning from carbon fuels to renewable energy, and at the same time the necessity of ensuring that the transition is just and inclusive. Could you, with this tension, this the need to strike a balance between these two important values or elements?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why Oxfam supports the call for a just energy transition, because how we transition is as important, both in terms of securing climate change impact, but also in terms of poverty and hunger, as the transition itself. And I think all of the detailed work that Oxfam has done has been to show us that we do believe that that transition is feasible, whilst fully realising the right to develop, and ensuring that the transition is just for people and workers. And a lot of that is to do with the rapidly falling cost in renewable energy infrastructure. So because of that, we don't see that there's a conflict so much now, although we do still reflect in the rates of transition that we're calling for. We call for, as I pointed out in my statement, a much earlier transition in countries with higher levels of development and technological capacity, and then a staged transition reflecting a longer timescale for other countries, but with a full transition by 2050 for all electricity generation globally.
And as pointed out earlier by you, the cost of this transition is becoming cheaper and cheaper. Parity, and in fact, it might even become cheaper, which is a good thing to note insofar as this panel is concerned, although we would need more data. So I have no further questions for you, Laura. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Will you request your honors that the witness be excused?
Yeah, the witness is excused. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Laura.
Your Honors, we do not have any other resource persons for today, but we will be having several resource persons tomorrow.
How many resource persons are you presenting tomorrow?
We have 6 resource persons, 3 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon, Your Honors.
6. All right. And you have no further manifestations before the panel, before we adjourn. That's the last. The fact that you'll be presenting 6 witnesses. May we invite anybody from the audience who might be interested in manifesting anything? Yeah. Go ahead, counsels.
Your Honor, after the presentation of our 6 resource persons, may we take time also to have a closing statement for the petitioners, Your Honors?
And how long will it take you to do your closing remarks tomorrow?
Your Honors, roughly 15 to 20 minutes, Your Honors.
This will essentially be in the form of summarizing your case?
Yes, Your Honors.
Right. We would appreciate that actually to make our jobs easier. And then perhaps the panel will also have a few statements to wrap up, because tomorrow will be the last day of our public hearing before we proceed to further consultations with other parties. So if there are no more manifestations from any of the parties in the audience, we would like to end by calling out again to the respondents, if they would care to do so. They would be very welcome to make any presentations or manifestations or present any witnesses tomorrow, our last day of public hearing. With no further matters to take, this inquiry session is now adjourned. We will start tomorrow at 9. All right. Thank you.